Welcome in to Outkick the show. I am your official and fearless leader, Clay Travis. I appreciate all of you joining me here on the Tuesday edition of Outkick the show. A little bit later than normal today because I took the boys out to Titans training camp. Yes, if you missed yesterday's show, tis I, the beardless wonder here. Beard starting to slowly come back in. Clean shaven for the vacation. My 3-year-old and my 7-year-old asked me to do it. I have been outdoors all day in 100-degree heat at the Titans training camp. Off the top, I want to thank the Titans for making my boys' day come true, their dream come true. Both boys got to meet Derrick Henry, get their pictures taken. Both boys got to meet Marcus Mariota, get their pictures taken. All of that was pretty fantastic. So we'll break that down. My friends at sportsbookreview.com, they got all sorts of betting options up for you right now, including will our guy Jimmy Garoppolo date another porn star? Minus 800 no, plus 450 yes. If you're friends with Jimmy Garoppolo, have him show you the money. Roll out with another porn star. We'll talk about a lot today on the show, but we start with Sportsbook Review as they are our presenting sponsor. I also want to give a shout out to my guy Ryan Kelly. He's climbing a mountain, raising lots of money for cancer awareness for kids all over the country. He also runs a business, by the way, that's doing really well. It's called thehomeloanexpert.com. If you want to wipe out all your credit card debt, if you need a mortgage, I'm telling you, this guy is the real deal. He'll take care of you. He can get you pre-qualified in as little as a day. By the weekend, you'll be off and running. And also, if you have credit card debt, he can wipe it out by the end of the week. Make your smart financial decision, and you will be glad that you did. Thank you for him for hooking us all up. Lots to get to. Let me give you the rundown. We're going to talk about the Ohio State protesters and why they are such complete and total losers. We're going to talk about the Courtney Smith continuing investigation of Urban Meyer. We're going to talk about Disney missing revenue and earnings and what that means for ESPN and why that remains a big story in the world of sports media. Tesla, amazing tweet from Elon Musk that has driven short sellers mad. He said they can go private at $420 a share. The stock price surges up about $100 in the last couple of months, I think. I think it got down to like $320. It is on a rampage right now. Is that a smart move for Tesla to go private? Where would the money come from? Probably Saudi investors would be my guess. We don't know for sure. And our Texas A&M Gator girl has gone famous. It is a big, massive story. We have taken her international ever since I retweeted her giving her Aggie ring to the Gators. We had her on the show yesterday. Go download the podcast. You can listen to it. Much to get to, but let's start with the Ohio State protesters. College football is the best sport in America. It also has the dumbest fans in America. I have made fun of dumb college football fans for a long time. Uniquely among all sports fans, college football fans are the least able to divorce the real world from their insanely biased view of their own football team. I don't know why this is. I don't know why college football fans are the dumbest in all of sports. I've got theories. I think it probably has something to do with the intense regionalization of college football fandom and the fact that there aren't, in a lot of places where college football is really popular, other teams that are rooted for. In other words, for instance, I've made fun of Kentucky and Alabama fans for being dumb before. And I think it's because there's no other teams to root for in those states. Yes, some people can root for Louisville. Yes, some people can root for Auburn. But by and large, if you're an average person in the states of Kentucky and Alabama, you are going to root for the big state university in your school, in your state, and there's no other team to dilute the crazy. Now, this doesn't make sense for Ohio State because in theory, you've got the Browns, you've got the Bengals, you've got the Cleveland Indians, you have got the Cleveland Cavaliers. In theory, there are a lot of other teams you could root for in the state of Ohio and not be an idiot. But instead, there was a large collection of idiots that showed up to rally on behalf of Urban Meyer. Now, if you listen to my radio show this morning, I have a thesis. The thesis is this. If you find yourself buying poster board as a grown man not to do your kid's science project, if you walk into a Rite Aid, a CVS, a Dwayne Reddy, a Walgreens, whatever brand of convenience store / drugstore you go to, and you walk in and you say, where's the poster board and markers? And then you find yourself sitting there drawing on a poster board a sign and then you carry it out to protest, you are a huge fucking loser, okay? You are a loser if you are a grown man and you make a poster board sign. But I got to tell you this. We look at these people, and I'm going to read you some of their signs and hold up the picture for you to be able to see. We look at these people protesting on behalf of Urban Meyer, and we ridicule them. Yet, we take seriously people who get on Twitter and spend all day sending angry messages from anonymous accounts on Twitter. And people take these losers on Twitter protesting everything seriously all day long seriously. Shouldn't we give more credit to the losers who are willing to put their faces front and center, who are willing to stand out in the hot afternoon sunshine and advocate for their coach? Question for you. If we ridicule all these people at Ohio State who show up and are at least willing to give their time, to spend their effort and their energy to show up in a physical place, shouldn't we ridicule people whining and complaining on social media all day long much more? Considering there's no effort or energy required to get on social media and bitch and moan and complain. Yet the same reporters, I want you to think about this for a minute, the same reporters who are going to show up and take pictures of these protesters and mock them will treat protesters on social media as legitimate sources for news articles. My argument to you is this. If you are protesting anything in America today, by and large, you are a loser. You ever notice that when you see pictures of modern day protesters, whatever they are protesting, they look like total losers? Somebody sent me a picture the other day. I guess Vice President Pence was showing up somewhere, and there were a bunch of people who were pro-Pence, and there were a bunch of people who were anti-Pence. It was a beautiful day in Tennessee. It was a beautiful day in Tennessee, and they showed up to stand outside and spend their afternoon yelling back and forth at each other. And I thought to myself, my God, can you imagine choosing to spend a beautiful summer Saturday standing outside in 2018, yelling at somebody as they walk past and yelling back and forth at somebody else all day long? And as I looked at the protesters on both sides, the leftists and the rightists, you know what I noticed? None of them were fuckable. Not one of the protesters remotely was in good shape, looked like they could ever find anybody else to have sex with them. And it got me thinking, do you think maybe protesters are just sad, pathetic losers that really don't have anything else to do with their lives, and so they've decided to spend it being angry? And if that is true, if my thesis is true, why in the world are we allowing these losers to dictate the way that our country makes decisions? Again, I want you to start doing something for me. I want you to watch protesters, and I want you to look for attractive protesters. People that you think, you know what? That's somebody who's taking care of themselves. That's somebody who looks like they might live to be 105. That's somebody who looks like they could walk into a bar or restaurant and pick up somebody and leave with them. I haven't seen any of them. And it makes me really wonder, as I looked at the Ohio State protesters, why in the world are we allowing social media protesters to dictate so much of our national discourse? When one, it's so artificial, and two, these people on social media might not even be real, and they certainly aren't even committed enough to their opinions to show up at an actual protest. To their credit, the people who get the poster board and buy the markers and write the messages and go stand out in the hot sunshine to advocate for a cause are actually the most successful of the protesters, and they're still all complete losers. You drive by them, you look at their picture, and you think, my God, those guys need to get a life. And yet when they're on social media, every company, every person, everybody's like, oh, we got to be concerned about what the social media mob says. My response is the exact opposite. Fuck them. They're a bunch of losers who won't even show up face to face and say anything. Do you know how many times somebody has come up to me face to face and said, I hate you, I can't stand you, I hope you die? Never. I just came from Titans practice. I probably posed for 20 photographs. I'm not a Titans player. I'm just a guy who comes on here and talks. And people come up and they're like, oh my God, I love you. If I get on social media right now and scroll through my mentions, there would be tons of people saying, I hate you. Do you know what those people would say if they actually saw me in person? I love you. Can I get a picture? So let's talk about the signs that the Ohio State protesters had. People say, oh, you're picking on Ohio State. Every team has stupid fans. Ohio State has a lot of really stupid fans. Top 10 dumbest fan base in America. I've been saying it for a long time. Here are the signs. This is legitimately, I want you to see, this is the picture that I am holding up. It was taken by a reporter at the protest today. I want you to know that I'm reading legitimate signs. ESPN equals fake news. Now, ESPN, I am not the biggest defender of ESPN, right? ESPN has nothing to do with the Ohio State story. Brett McMurphy, they actually fired. They were 4 hours late in actually covering it. They've had almost no one with an interesting opinion other than Paul Feinbaum on this case. In fact, the real story here is ESPN on the Ohio State story has not produced very much news, certainly, but even very many interesting opinions. There haven't been very many prognosticators at ESPN that have gone on and said very much interest, okay? So you make a sign that says ESPN equals fake news. Nothing that ESPN has reported about Urban Meyer has been fake news. In fact, it hasn't even been ESPN's news. It's been Brett McMurphy's story that they have taken from elsewhere. ESPN SEC frauds. I don't even understand how the SEC is to blame because Urban Meyer employed a coach who may be a serial domestic abuser. What did the SEC have to do with this story at all? Put Urban back to work now. Hashtag did nothing wrong. If you put a hashtag on a poster board, do you understand that that is not what the hashtag is designed to do? The hashtag exists so that you can click on it in social media and immediately be connected to everybody else discussing that hashtag. When you hold up a poster board, the hashtag means nothing. You might as well just write whatever else you want to write. The hashtag is nonsensical. It literally makes no sense. It's as if you might as well pick a hyperlink and put a hyperlink on your poster board too. You walk up to it, it's not taking you anywhere. It's like trying to put a link on a poster board. Putting a hashtag on a poster board is the equivalent of putting a hyperlink on one. You can bold it and you can underline it and put the click link, but when you click it, guess what? It's still just a poster board. Got to be a little bit smarter than to put a hashtag on a poster board. Is OSU owned by ESPN and Feinbaum? Hashtag fake sports. Hashtag real fraud. More hashtags. This also doesn't make any sense. Is Ohio State owned by ESPN and Feinbaum? No is the answer. ESPN does not own Ohio State. Also, Paul Feinbaum, who makes a living writing and talking about sports, is not at all owning Ohio State. He might own their pea brains, but he doesn't actually own them physically. Now, this one, I got to tell you, this really bothered me. This guy held up a sign. Can you see this? College football. I know it's kind of hard to see because of the reflection. This guy wrote up a sign. He said, college football playoff, worst journalist. And I swear to God, when I saw this headline on this poster board, I was crossing my fingers praying that I was going to be in the Final Four playoff. And then he put Sage Steele, who, I'm going to be honest with you, has never said a bad word that I have ever seen about anybody in her history on ESPN. Sage Steele might be, she's a friend of mine, she might be the nicest person at ESPN. Literally the least offensive person that has ever been employed by ESPN. Paul Feinbaum, all right. Brett McMurphy, again, he reported real news. I don't know why you're upset about that. And Mark May, all right? That is all the situation was, okay? Those are the only four. And by the way, McMurphy won the playoff, and I'm crushed. This guy couldn't have done anything to make me feel worse than not put me in the playoff. I feel crushed that I wasn't in that Final Four. Mark May's not even on television now. This guy wearing cargo shorts, which I felt compelled to defend this morning, the cargo short, writes, "Me Too," because why not connect the Me Too movement to your coach who's currently suspended for potentially protecting a domestic abuser? What better way could you have a connection to the Me Too movement than to point out that Urban Meyer, who may well have continued to employ a serial domestic abuser, is very similar to women who were raped by men in powerful positions? Very strong argument here. Me Too. I support Urban Meyer and the Bucks, OHIO. Feinbaum's words are weaker than Alabama's football schedule. Go Bucks. All right, these are just the guys whose pictures we saw. Again, thesis for you. If you are protesting in modern American life, you make a poster board, you're a grown person, and you go protest. You are a loser, okay? You are a complete fucking loser who does not deserve self-respect. Yet the same people tweeting all day long are originally taken to be serious. These guys are all losers. All right? Big story. Courtney Smith, there's been all these rumors. I don't know how many people spend all day on buck nuts, but if you quote a message board to me, the message board is not a legitimate source. Okay? Everybody on buck nuts, which I think is an Ohio State message board, it's called buck nuts. They're like, everybody on buck nuts says this chick Courtney Smith is not reliable. She's been arrested like 58 times. She's called the police 914 times in the last 2 days. So far, none of it's true. I have seen this happen over and over and over again. Don't be message board guy. Don't be the guy who goes on social media and screenshots a message board post. I don't remember ever seeing an accurate message board post. I don't remember anybody ever coming out and saying, you know what? That anonymous message board poster, he fucking nailed it. He had the outcome of the Urban Meyer investigation 4 weeks ago. This is not right. Okay? Moreover, everybody out there is obsessed with Brett McMurphy's reporting. You are obsessed with something that is in reality not an issue. At this point in time, what Brett McMurphy reported is not an issue. Nobody out there is paying attention to the real story here, which is Urban Meyer's admitted that he knew about the 2015 incident. The particulars of the 2015 incident at this point in time are not that important. What's important is, did Urban Meyer notify his superiors? Did he notify him about the 2009 arrest? Did he notify him about the 2009 arrest when he hired him in 2012? All of those things. Being obsessed with some Reddit post or being obsessed with some Bucknuts post is frankly evidence that you aren't intelligent enough to understand which issues are actually at play. Okay? That is the truth. And I happened to just look over and see two people, and I thought to myself, is this the kind of thing that a pussy would tweet? And I thought to myself, my God, that is the kind of thing that a pussy would tweet. And I don't read most of the comments, but I just had to go Clay Kyle, on 3 different people instantaneously for being lame, loser bitches. All right? Pow, pow, pow. You think because I shaved my beard off that I'm still not the same rugged assassin that I used to be. Just because you see these baby cheeks and you think to yourself, you know what? Maybe Clay Travis has shaved off a year or 5 years or 10 years off his age. Maybe I can try him now. Maybe I can come out and said that, you know what? This guy's going to go. You remember when you said something a long time ago? Pow, 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 and pow. Got to murder some of you. Have to look over and decide to murder some people. Uh-oh. I'm not sure if this is satire or not, but you're dead. I read like 5% of the comments. And when I happen to go look over and you are, frankly, commenting like a pussy, you don't get the opportunity to comment anymore. People say, oh, if you block people, blocking people is good for the overall success of the show. We continue to grow. We continue to grow. Oh, this guy's been a cunt too. That guy's been a cunt and now he's gone forever. If you see people that you think are cunts, if you see people that you think are losers, and you say to yourself, man, this person is driving me crazy in the comments, come in here and tell me. The great thing about blocking them is they're never allowed to return again. They're never allowed to return again. They're gone forever and banned. And if you are asking stupid questions, or if you are being a pussy in the comments, I happen to look over and you are gone. Other people out there, I was on Midday 180 with my guy Chad Withrow earlier today, and I was saying, I really believe this. You need every now and then to have a purge. Just like the Purge movies have been so popular, if I see in the comments that you have been a total pussy, and you've tweeted me like 25 times in a row, my audience just keeps growing massively. There's no better feeling than just blocking someone and seeing like 25 of their comments just disappear all at once from my mentions. And the same thing is true when I happen to look over and see that I blocked somebody and they can never come back again. Tough break. All right. Again, thanks to the Titans for letting my kids meet Marcus Mariota, meet Derrick Henry. Both those guys were fantastic. They were utterly fantastic to my kids. It was an awesome day. Disney has missed earnings yet again. Disney has missed revenue and earnings estimates. Let me pull up the latest in the after hours and see what Disney's stock is. It's down over $2 a share. They missed earnings. I think this is the 9th straight quarter that Disney has missed earnings because of collapsing ratings and revenue and everything else at ESPN. Tesla. You want to talk about a guy who just walked right in and slapped everybody in the face. Elon Musk has been going to war with short sellers for a long time. He just dropped a bomb on them about an hour and a half ago. He said that Tesla has investors who could take the entire company private at $420 a share. The stock price immediately skyrocketed. Tesla today was up, 11%, near an all-time high, up, almost $40 a share, up to $380. It was incredible. I couldn't believe what I saw when I got back from Titans practice. Elon Musk with an all-time move there. Finally, our Texas A&M Gator girl has gone international. If you didn't see this story, it was incredible. It was incredible to see what she did. She had a Aggie ring, and she made the decision to put that ring. Here's my wedding ring. She put the wedding ring right on top of a 14-foot alligator, the largest alligator ever taken and captured in Texas in the history of the state. She then allowed the picture to be taken. You got to see these videos. Go to my Twitter handle. If you have not seen this girl, Kinsey, whatever her last name was, it's gone viral. It's gone international. It is everywhere. She is feeding a 14-foot alligator. It was absolutely incredible. All right, I think I have talked about everything today. I'll do a couple of minutes of rapid-fire questions here. Texas A&M graduate, yes. Alligator's name is Big Tex, yes. Elon Musk was incredible. What did Brett McMurphy say? I don't know. By the way, thoughts and prayers. Jason Martin got into a traffic accident at Chick-fil-A today, leaving the Titans practice. Guy's been on a good roll lately, loses like 180 pounds. I remade his life, my former producer. Now he's got his own show in Nashville radio. J Mart got into a traffic accident at Chick-fil-A. He's fine, but this is an incredible Chick-fil-A story. They hit each other in the parking lot on their way to Chick-fil-A and then decided before they would call the police that they would go inside and eat Chick-fil-A first. I need to get him to call in and tell this story tomorrow on Outkick. That is an unbelievable story. Thoughts and prayers, J Mart, accident at the Chick-fil-A, decides before they call the police that they should go in and eat at Chick-fil-A because their chicken is so delectably good before they call the police. Derrick Henry is huge. When we met Derrick Henry today at the Titans practice, I met Derrick Henry and Marcus Mariota. Derrick Henry stole whatever remaining segment of my soul might have existed when he got my 7-year-old to say Roll Tide. Derrick Henry is a monster. I mean, just a massive human being. I can't even imagine what it would be like to try to tackle him. In fact, you want to see an incredibly funny video. Me being geared up in a football uniform, trying to tackle Derrick Henry would be phenomenal to watch. Even like just get in front of him and try to take him down low. I mean, I think it would be an unbelievable video, me versus Derrick Henry in the open field. I'd be willing to do it. I don't think the Titans would be willing to do it because inevitably somehow I would injure him, probably when he just leapt over me or kicked me in the head, and his shoe might break or a foot might break or something like that. Yes, I tweeted out pics. They're also up on Instagram. I became the last person in America to join Instagram, so you can go find me on Instagram, Clay Travis Outkick. But I tweeted out the pictures of my kids next to Derrick Henry and my kids also next to Marcus Mariota. I appreciate all of you at the Titans camp who are watching this, and a lot of the Titans are big fans. I appreciate everything that they did for my boys today. They loved it. I don't know about you guys, but I have moved from somebody who grew up rooting for teams to now I just root for my kids' teams to win because I want them to feel better. At some point in time, you get old enough where what happens in the games doesn't matter as much to you outside of the gambling side, and I just want my kids' teams to be able to win. So it makes you feel like a kid again when you get to see your kids be so excited to see their athletes, their athlete idols, and you remember what that was like when you were 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. So thanks to the Titans for letting them to get to do that. My 7-year-old likes Bama. My 7-year-old's wavering, though. This is a pretty funny story. I think I can say it. We were down at Florida, and we were over at James Franklin's house, Penn State coach James Franklin, who's a really funny dude, like a legitimately funny guy. And we were hanging out at his house. And so as we're leaving that day, he's got an awesome pool. He's got a great beach place down on 30A. And as we're leaving that day, he turns to my son and he says, who's your favorite college football team? And my son's like, well, I'm kind of torn right now between Alabama and Tennessee. He's like, what's the name of Tennessee's coach? And my 7-year-old can't remember his name. So he's like, all right, Tennessee's out. That's not your favorite team. He's like, tell me this. And this is pretty funny. He's like, have you ever met Nick Saban? And he's expecting the answer to be no, but my 7-year-old, because he has an unbelievable sporting life, got to meet Nick Saban at the SEC spring meetings a couple of days before that. And he's like, actually, yeah, I have met Nick Saban. And he said, all right, have you ever been swimming at Nick Saban's pool? And my 7-year-old's like, no, I've never been swimming at Nick Saban's pool. And James Franklin's like, how in the world can you root for a coach if you haven't ever been to his swimming pool? He's like, you got to be a Penn State fan. You've been hanging out in my swimming pool all day. And he's like, so I think he's now a Penn State fan because he's like, James Franklin, Dad, he did make a good point. I mean, I have been to his swimming pool and spent all day at his house. Like, why wouldn't I be a fan of Penn State? Nick Saban hasn't invited us over to spend all day at the swimming pool. So I hate to say this for Alabama fans out there, but I think Nick Saban on his next break might have to invite my son over to the swimming pool or else the really good shot that James Franklin has got that commitment away, that he's taken the angle away. So that's a completely true story. I don't think I've told it yet, but that's a great line. James Franklin hitting him with the, hey, you spent all day at my swimming pool. Why? And Franklin also, this might be an improper benefit, Franklin also gave him a big Spider-Man ball to my 3-year-old. So he really kind of won over the entire family. Anyway, James Franklin's an awesome dude. I appreciate all of you. Thanks to the Tennessee Titans for hooking up my boys. I'll be live tomorrow, 6 to 9 a.m. as I am every single morning. AM, FM, 300 stations. We just added Omaha and Green Bay, Wisconsin, I think. Boom. We're dominating now. All 50 states. We're on everywhere. I appreciate all of you guys for spending your mornings with us and also hanging out with us on the afternoon. DBAP, boys and girls. But if there's a 14-foot alligator and they ask you to get in the water with them, SBAP. General rule, don't be a pussy. Opposite rule, sometimes be a pussy. I'm Clay Travis. This has been Outkick the Show. Thanks for hanging with us here. I'll be live tomorrow, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern. And also in the afternoon, it's Outkick the Show and Outkick the Coverage. See y'all.